Hi, welcome back to this video, and this video is on stem cells, or the stem cell therapy on my father's Alzheimer's condition. Okay, this is my father here with my son here. And first of all, I want to thank God for His saving grace and deliverance on my father's condition, and also thank people who have been taking effort and time, particularly my aunties who pretty well every day visit my parents, because it's only my mother is over there. I'm here in KL, and friends and church members who come and visit and pray for my father. May God bless you all. Okay, now let's get into the condition a bit. Okay, before I get into that, I like to describe briefly. By the way, this video is going to be lengthy. This is very eventful surrounding my father's condition, and I hope that by sharing this, many people can benefit. And because Alzheimer's, medically, Alzheimer's is incurable. Okay, there is no known cure. There are 4 medications available. Just briefly, I want to show it to you. And medically, there are 4 medications available currently, and all of these medications, as taken from this website from the United States. It is important to understand that none of this medication stops the disease itself, because it's incurable. So it's actually these medications that control and delay and slow down the progress of the disease, and also try to give some quality of life to the patients. Okay. Now you can check out all the internet. There are many information available on this disease, because many people are afflicted with this condition. Basically, one of the most common way they classify into 7 stages. Okay, dementia is part of dementia. Okay, dementia is part of Alzheimer. Okay, has to do with the memory and whatnot. Alzheimer is also classified into different stages, 7 stages. Stage 7 is actually end stage. Okay, end stage, and normally at the end stage, their lifespan is about 2.5 years. The reason for that is, by that time, when they get to the very severe stage, end stage, they actually lose the control of most of their nerve system. Okay, what happens is, when they try to swallow, the food will go into the windpipe, and that's how they choke to death. Okay, not because of this organ destroyed or whatever, but it's the nervous system destroyed. Okay, so you can find out all about it, because when my father got this condition, it jumped very fast to stage 7. Okay, I called home about the October 1st or 2nd, and so my wife, and found out that my father had to see doctor because there's pain all over the body. All this while, my father had this condition called rheumatoid arthritis. If you're familiar with it, it's a form of arthritis. The joints very painful, and there's no known cure as well. All these years, probably about 10 years, I think my father had it. He has been on painkiller, Chinese medicines, all kinds of things, and he had episodes of water retention and swelling of the body because of all these medications and whatnot. After that, after seeing the doctor, I called home, I spoke to my father, I said, so what did the doctor say? So the doctor gave painkiller again. So at that point, we don't know about the Alzheimer. Okay, so I thought, oh, this is not the solution for long term. It's been years and years on painkiller, so maybe I buy this. I know about the stem cell product. Just show you briefly. This product looks like this. Okay, it's in a capsule. This stem cells is actually from a deer placenta. It's quite large. It's actually extracted and kept live. Okay, in this special capsule, we call it the enteric coating. It basically helps to prevent oxygen and air getting into the capsule, so that the stem cells inside, using freeze drying technology to keep it live, because for stem cells to be effective, it has to be alive. Okay, if you are consuming a product of stem cells and the cells are dead, then it's not, any effect you get is not from the stem cells. It's probably in some other things, maybe collagen, maybe for other things. Okay, but anyway, let's come back. So I bought the stem cells. Okay, I think I got it on the 4th, the Thursday, and I intended to courier back on Friday, which is the 5th of October. On Friday morning, after I sent my son to school, I saw a missed call from my mother, and so I called my mother. My mother described it. Your father is in very critical condition. He is uncontrollable. He's totally a different person. He doesn't respond. He doesn't communicate. In fact, on that day itself, It took my mother 1 hour to get my father up the stairs because there's no one else at home. You know, my aunties were not there at that time. Those of you who know my parents, my mother is quite small size. My father is a much larger size than my mother. Can you imagine? I believe my mother was really that tired after getting him upstairs. Okay, so on that day itself, after speaking to my mother on the phone, I decided to have to fly back. I cannot courier back, you know, because no one else is there to help my mother except my aunties, you know, but they live in a different place. So I flew back on that night. I reached home at 10 o'clock. Okay, when I arrived and went up to the living room, I got a shock of my life. You couldn't believe it. I've never seen my father before like this before, you know. My father is a heroic figure in my life, you know. And you couldn't believe it. My father was lying on the floor. His hand was keep moving against the glass door, you know, in the living room. And there is no sensible words out from him. He was moaning like somebody who cannot speak, you know. There's just moaning sound. There was no sensible words. I did not have time to react emotionally, but I thought to myself, oh my goodness, this is probably it, you know. The days are probably numbered, you know, probably numbered. But anyway, so that was about 10 o'clock in the evening at night. So all I could think of, okay, let's feed him the stem cells. We fed him 2, okay. That was about 10, you know. At that time, during those times, I think from the Friday night until the Sunday, he could sit there and suddenly he stand up and then try to grab something, and then he lose his balance and fall down. He has no senses of pain, okay? No sense of pain. He had that spurt of energy, and because he's seeing things, okay? I'll explain a bit later. He's seeing something that we are not seeing, you know. His memories are attached back to different times, at different scenes, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. And so we fed him about 10, and we would have to watch him pretty well most of the time, because if I could go in the kitchen and it's, you know, just next door in the kitchen and wash the hand, he could BAM and fall down in front of TV, and it's very scary, you know. It's really worrying, you know, worrisome. So we kept watch, you know. My mother and I kept watch, you know. It's in the living room. We didn't put him in the bedroom. So my mother would sleep on the sofa. I would sit nearby, and we kept watch of him, because he might bump into something else and knock his head and bleeding and whatnot. So finally he tired. He tried to sleep. He couldn't sleep, you know. So about 2 o'clock, we fed him 2 about 10. He never spoken a word, no. During all those times, during 4 hours. At 2 a.m. I tried to put on the pajamas for him, okay, the pants. He looked at me. He said, "When did you come back?" It's the first time I hear him speak after that 4 hours. Sensible words. And thank God he regained his speech, you know. But all these 3 days he has been restless, you know. He's restless. He couldn't feel any pain at all. Actually, he has been falling until even before I went back. His hand was all bruised. You can see flesh, both hands, flesh, cuts and whatnot, and wound, and the skin will peel off. You know, it got to the point. The hips were all bruises and damage, and you could see the flesh. It's really bad. It's a bit scary if you're not comfortable with seeing, you know, seeing flesh. And he couldn't feel it, you know. At these 3 days itself, his memories would jump out of the present and the past, and sometimes he sit there, he would say, flooding. Sometimes it's quite funny, okay. I hope my father don't mind. I didn't get his consent to share his condition, but I hope this would help up a lot of people. He would say, flooding. I said, we're flooding. The water flooding, you know, and you got to close the tap, you know, and things like that. And then he would say, oh, very dirty. He tried to reach for them. I said, well, what are you trying to do? He said, there's a lot of leaves and dry branches, you know, you need to clean it up. I said, I'll clean that later lah. You look at me like, you know, I think he's a bit angry lah. You clean that later, it's so dirty, you know. And then he would say, suddenly you jump. I said, where you want to go? I said, I want to feed the chicken, you know, because my mother used to raise a few chicken. Then because I know his condition, yes, I said, the kitchen all gone already. I mean the chicken all gone already. He said, no, got 2. I said, I got 2, eh? Okay, so I'll feed lah. He said, you know how to feed, me? You know, so there are all kinds of things. And then sometimes his memories would go back to 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And then this photo I'll show you. This photo was taken with my son. This one, I show him this one. Okay, so I asked him. I show him this photo. I think similar photos are. I said, "Do you know who is this guy?" He said, "You are." I said, "No, that's my son. That's your grandson." He looked at me blank. Then sometimes his memory would come back. Would come back and say, "Okay, can you go and pick up my phone? The one that bought by your wife." He remember my wife. And then and some other time he said, "Where is Ethan?" And other times you ask me, "Where's your sister?" And I asked him, I said, "Your daughter immigrated to Canada, you don't know?" He said, "I don't know." And then all these 3 days and he has been like restless until Monday. His senses are back. And Monday he said pain all over. He could not sit up. It's too painful, he said, everywhere, because he was falling all over the place prior to Monday. Okay, that was Monday. Let's get the calendar up. That was Monday, the 8th. And then I was supposed to leave on the 10th. I did not. I see the situation. I said I could not leave. And I extended until the 13th. So I stayed there for about 8 days or 9 days or so. During these few days, we see signs of coming back gradually coming back. He already at stage 7. Basically, he has incontinence, meaning he cannot control his passing motion, he cannot control his urine, and even he tried very hard to urine, and finally when the urine comes out, it's like so black, so darker than the coffee. Okay, because of all the toxins in the body. And one other point I need to mention: all this while, he's not on medication. He hasn't been on that Alzheimer medicine, one of them that I mentioned, until a later date. I think on the 11th. On the 11th, he wasn't on medication at all. All these improvements are showing up purely because of the stem cells. Okay. Another thing is that all this while we thought he was a bit obese, have a little bit of tire in the stomach, a bit of tire there. And when we took bath for him, I believe was on the Sunday, the 7th. That was 2 days after taking the stem cells. His stomach went flat. Swelling of his body all gone. Actually, it's water retention. Then we realized it's water retention. It literally took about 1 to 2 days for the stem cells to work to get rid of the water. It was a bit shocking. Actually, it's quite thin, It's basically not much flesh, but bone and skin. He is a bit better now. Okay. Now, meaning right now it's November the 20th today. Okay. So during those few days, we see all kinds of signs of Alzheimer's, meaning the memories, not only memories, the control. Even before I leave, actually, he was still lying down because of energy level, but he was much better compared to what I had seen on the night when I went back. Okay, so by the 11th, actually, we put him on one of the medicine that controls dementia. Okay, I think we put him on this Aricept. Even then, he was not on that for. I left on the 13th. I think the following week, mother stopped it because. Mother felt that when he was on the medication, he was a bit like groggy and drowsy, like blur like that, So mother was wise enough to take him off that. And so even after that, he's purely on stem cells and a couple of other supplements that help him regain his body strength. Now, some of his landmarks. Okay. Now, I believe by the 3rd week. Or the 4th week, the last week, somewhere around 28th to 31st, he actually called me. When I was there, he was trying to, actually before I went back, actually I didn't realize it until after, because I SMS him, before we knew about this Alzheimer, I SMS him, I said, I'm going to courier back the stem cells. Then he called me actually. And then after that day, I think it was on the 4th or the 3rd, I keep getting missed call on my phone. Actually, he couldn't control it at that point. actually in August, when my son's birthday, my father was able to SMS a happy birthday message to us, you know. So he's losing it, all the control in October, you know. And then after taking about 4 weeks, 4 weeks from the 5th to about 28th, during the week of the 29th, I think he called me, you know. He called me and spoke to me and said, I'm much better now, you don't worry, you know. Oh, much better. I didn't know what happened exactly. You see, the turn, the reversal was really amazing. Thank God about that. And I think even by the 3rd week, mother told me that his urine has already cleared up. It's clear. It's no longer dark. And probably by about the 1st week of November, no, the 3rd week, the last week of October, he's able to stand up. Weak, but able to stand up and able to, you know, walk slowly to the bathroom and take shower. Okay, and then as I mentioned in the last video, by the 5th, the week of the November 5th, his shaking was all gone. Parkinson, okay, his shaking was all gone, and he is able to participate in conversation when my aunties visited him, you know. He's able to conduct, very intelligent, and he's able to press his own channel on the TV, you know, using the remote control and Astro. He likes to watch National Geographic. He's able to press for those and watch, you know. And then during all those weeks, for the past, I think, for the past 3 to 4 weeks, he's always pain. All his wound right now is recovered. Okay, is recovered. His waist, I believe, is a kidney, was all painful. You know, mother has to rub it. This couple of days, the mother said he seldom complained. I think for the last week or so, he seldom complained there's pain in his back. You know, it's like the way he described. It's like after a very, you know, hectic sports, you know, that kind of thing, sore and swing, you know, that kind of thing. So all the signs are improving, you know. Though his appetite is still a bit more on soft food rather than solid food. Sleeping much better, and I believe he has prostate problem also, because a couple weeks back, mother said he keep getting up at night and pass urine, you know. For the past couple of nights, he has been like, you know, past few days, he told mother, father told mother that his urine is much better because he is able to urinate at one go, rather than, you know, a bit by bit. That's a sign of prostate. Any one of you men have this kind of problem, that's prostate. Okay, pay attention to it. That's not a good sign. If you have to wake up at night frequently, your prostate is having problem. You need to look into that. Okay, it's not fatal, but eventually it could develop into all kinds of things. Okay, now so as I look back, you know, as I reminisce, it's very amazing. If you look at the stages, if you check out the internet and the stages, he is probably right around, you know, his memory is mostly back already, except the body strength. Okay, he's probably, I don't know, maybe stage 2, stage 1. Okay, can you imagine from stage 7 back to about stage 1, stage 2? That is amazing, you know. That is amazing. It's something that current medical technology, medical treatment cannot do. Okay, cannot do. So I hope some of you who have seen this video, if you are able to, if you know somebody who have tried all kinds of things, it's getting worse, it's probably worth a try. It's probably worth a try. Okay, based on what I observe in my father, it's just amazing. Thank God for that. Okay, and I think I'll call it an end to this video because it's quite long. So thank you for watching this video, and I do encourage you to watch the next video, which I'll explain a bit more detail in terms of what stem cells and stem cell therapy is all about. And then after that, there'll be another video on the product itself. Again, those of you who know my parents, you can pay them a visit, but call my mother first and at least see for your own eyes what is happening to my father. based on what I described. You probably couldn't believe it. I heard also that his graying is not so gray, black hair seems to start coming out. His skin is changing, it's peeling, you know. It's not wound, you know, it's peeling. And also, you see, sometimes when you take something that try to heal your body, it brings out all kinds of past illness, try to heal it. And now what my father is going through is, he used to have gastric problems, severe gastric problem, I think 30, 40 years ago when we were young, you know. He recovered, you know, using medicine, but now it's bringing out, trying to heal it. His ankle was sprained again 30, 40 years ago when he was working in a timber, and it's pain now, and that is what we call healing crisis, okay? Before it heal, you go through the pain. If you ride through the storm, whatever you're taking, you ride through it, you're recovered from it, okay? So, all the signs are coming, you know, all the signs are coming and go, and he's getting stronger every day, healing from all these different illnesses, okay? And I hope the information on this video will benefit you somehow, or maybe your friends and family members. If you have more details, please contact me, either through my phone or through the email, okay? Or you can call my mother and know more about my father's situation. Thank you. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.